Hey y'all, how's it going? I'm trading the ES futures on a 2000 tick chart with the 21 EMA. So we have our overnight highs here, overnight lows down here. These are our key levels for the day. So 8 o'clock is around this area right here. And you can see there's a reversal pattern technically right there. It's a first entry short, second entry short failure. You know, we're just coming off the overnight lows, or what formed the overnight lows. Now I don't really like it because it really just rushed above the EMA and got very choppy. It got very congestive, and then you got a failed breakout of the highs, and then it got congestive fully again before it even gave the entry bar there, that better looking green bar. So I don't like that. It's just too choppy. It's just it's not a good looking reversal pattern. You'd want it to be clear looking. But anyway, so that did happen right after you had this short-term downtrend here that has a break, and then these two legs down, which on a big picture that would just be this one bigger leg down here. And then since this is here, you can clearly draw this downtrend. It's like downtrend, break, first attempt lower, second attempt lower, except that's not a significant attempt right there, and then it resets right there. It's just overall it's not a good looking entry. Way too congestive. The attempts for this downtrend are very weak. I don't think that that's high probability of going long right there. So I wouldn't take it. We have this uptrend, break, two clear legs to a new high. Perfect measured legs right here. So anyway, the uptrend has a break, two legs to a new high, and then we immediately rush below the EMA. And then I have this long marked as a trap right here. And I know that some people would have this drawn right here. Now, if you were trying to get this channel here, you do have to recognize that this uptrend right here is in fact valid. I'm not saying this one can't come into play, but this uptrend is valid. It has a break, two legs to a new high. It does make a new high, and so you could reverse from there. And so, and this could also hold, except you need a good setup for it. Price rushed below the EMA and held below clearly multiple times, and then it could barely get back above there. So it's really just the uptrend played out with a break, two legs to a new high, and then there was an extremely strong push below the EMA. And I don't think that it would be a good idea to bet on this bigger uptrend holding when the main uptrend has already played out and clearly the EMA is accepting prices to the downside. So that's why I don't like that. And then it does break very quickly, and then you would just delete this. So anyway, we do push lower here. I don't think there's a good short necessarily either, because you do have that uptrend right there, and then it does close back above the uptrend line on this entry to go short right here. So it's one of those areas where there's reasons to go long and reasons to go short at the same time. I just overall don't think it's a good area to be trading at. It's probably just a good sit on your hands area. And so then we push lower. First entry long, second entry long, failure, but it's so extended down, and then you're directly into the lows right here. You have no kind of pullback on this entry at all, which that kind of reminded me of this other entry right here, because it feels like you're entering low because it's like just pushed down and you're entering low, but you still have this major pullback here, and then you have this bigger pullback here that you can kind of count on. It's just it's like even to the last major swing, you have no room at all. It literally does a failed breakout, and then clearly, like, it reacts like a fade. Breakout, fade, failure. So that's what it looks like to me. But it's a little bit different here. You have room to the next major swing, which is actually where I wanted to get out at, and it's also with the measured move. So that's just about the context. But anyway, where was I? So that failed second entry, I just don't like it. Too extended down. We push lower though. We get that little failed break thing. We rush back above. We have this higher low. Now, I don't like taking this higher low either though, because at this point, the uptrend has played out. This main downtrend at this point, or not main downtrend, but the most recent downtrend is in play at this point. You have a small overshoot break. You could get a new low, and you only have one attempt at making a new low, so you're basically betting on downtrend, break, first attempt at a new low, failure. And so you would want to enter on the second attempt, and I see there's a little tick higher there, but that really doesn't count. That's just one leg down. I don't like to count the little ticks. I like to count full legs. That way I can go for bigger targets. So anyway, we start pushing higher here. You can tell that when this uptrend plays out, that's going to be a leg. It ends up forming this second leg here, and then it's basically a to the tick leg. It's obviously a few ticks higher, but it turns down very quickly after reaching the measured move. Now about this trade right here, now I was the thing I didn't like is that I had to lower the target a little bit. Now I always say I never go for less than 1-to-1, but I actually did lower my target a little bit less than 1-to-1 on this trade because I didn't want it to have to push out at all. Because now here's the trade. It's a second entry long, expecting to complete this measured move. And to me, it was just clear that the bears were kind of giving up and that we were reaching the other side. And I really thought that it was a good trade to just reach the other side of the range here. But I didn't want it to push on through. I didn't want my target to be through the range because it was kind of an extended move. Like it is extended higher here. We have 2 legs up here. It's not completed yet, and I was expecting it to complete. But given that it is in fact 2 extended legs higher here, I didn't want to push it into any resistance. So I just wanted to lower my target a little bit. I should have just I should have tried to get in with a limit order, but I don't think I would have gotten filled. But anyway, I think I forgot to. Oh, actually, I was gonna say I forgot to go over this trap, but I actually did go over it. Now that I think about it, but I wanted to mark this area. Now I don't think that this is a good short. Just to go short, just because you reach the highs and there's a red bar. What I think is you would want momentum first, because there is this trend line here. You are picking a top. It is off the overnight high, but that's not enough to just expect it to just plummet the opposite direction. You want some kind of momentum. Now, notice here, after you reach the overnight highs, you have a first attempt to fade, second attempt to fade. So even though it makes a double top here, there's clearly 2 pushes to try to fade, to try to, bounce off this range here. And neither of them are very successful. They just kind of stall, and then they immediately have 2 attempts to break out. So when prices get to these key levels, the overnight levels, pay attention to them, like trying to bounce off and then fade. And then after you get 2 equal-ish legs, or clearly 2 relative legs, try to notice the 2 attempts to break out, because that's often when you're going to get a failure, because you have a first attempt to break out here, second attempt to break out, failure, or first attempt from this new low. It's obviously just a continuation of this attempt to break out, but we reach it, 2 pushes off of it, and then that's what ends up forming this low here, which leads to these 2 pushes higher, and then that's a pretty clear 2 legs back off the overnight highs. We're expecting price to reach the overnight lows, because that's what happens when you come off the highs. It's a lower high compared to the, this high up here, touching it initially. So it's basically like a retest, kind of like it tests it up here, and then you get this 2-legged retest. So that's why I like that, and then you have room down to these lows of this range down here, of this smaller range, so I like that. You can go for more than 1-to-1 because there was room on it, so I like that. Not to mention the bigger measured move that was in play, and the smaller measured move. There was all sorts of things going for this trade right here, so I like that a lot. We push lower here, we break out, tiny breakout pullback, nothing that we can trade off of. We basically just have this big leg down here. And then we attempt to rush back above, EMA holds price down, but then we push above the next time. We start going into this uptrend. Now, I noticed some people talking about this entry to go long. Now, considering the massive push down that we just had immediately after the uptrend playing out at the highs, I was kind of concerned about going long. I wanted to just look for shorts. And so I waited for the uptrend to just play out. We had a break, new high. We rushed below the EMA. We got this first entry long, second entry long failure. Now, really, after we started taking off down here, I was considering that this could be the start of the second leg. And so this, I was really taking it as a completion of this measured move. So I wanted to see this measured move complete. Now, I was kind of slow on drawing this range right here. And I do think it's a good entry. But I did enter like a tick above the range there. Now, considering the context, which is this overall range that we're in, the context of this trade is we're coming off the overnight highs, trying to complete this second major measured move, and so the setup itself, which is just this failed second entry, that's the setup, failed second entry. The context is we're trying to complete a massive measured move right after coming off the highs with the main uptrend played out. I think that is stronger than this range right here that has broken out of it here, and then it does get these lower highs every time so far. So I do like that, and I didn't want to push it to the full measured move here. I just wanted to push it to this shorter term measured move. So I like that. It did kind of scare me a bit when it came that close, that far back, but it was doing a breakout pullback. I was kind of slow with this range getting it drawn, but you know, it could have been better. It did still have a breakout pullback, like this range has a breakout pullback, has a couple attempts to fade back in. First attempt to fade, second attempt to fade, but it did technically still close in, and then do another breakout pullback there. But yeah, the context is overall good. You're trying to reach this massive measured move, and then you're not even pushing it all the way to it, and then it's funny, it does end up bouncing directly off of that measured move there. So I just played it safe with this measured move. But anyway, we push lower here. We have these two legs down. As soon as we reach the measured move, we reverse higher here. We rush above the EMA. And then we immediately rush back below, and then this higher low is below the EMA. You can see here, first entry short, second entry short failure. To me, it just looks like one spike up, and then a break, and then a higher low that couldn't hold above the EMA. I don't like that there. And then this right here, you get a retest of this range right here. You got a bigger picture breakout, because here you get a breakout, and it's like you get a breakout of the range right here, and then the breakout that's inside of this little trend line right here gets its own break. This is a bigger picture breakout because it's all within this one downtrend, and then we get a bigger picture retest. So the reason that I don't like this long right here, which it does fail on you, is we did just reach the measured move, and we are expecting a reversal. Yes, that's true. But we have two legs up already, so on this reversal higher, we already have two legs up that are causing an overshoot of this uptrend and retesting this range. An overshoot of this uptrend. Overshoots lead to breaks, and then the momentum caused from the retest also makes me not want to go long, because I'd be afraid that we're actually going to reach this measured move. Because one way that you'd have to view it is this downtrend has a break and one attempt lower, even though it technically made a new low. It could still make a second attempt. And so, considering it could make a second attempt and the measured move's in play and there was an overshoot and there was a retest, I would just want to avoid going long there. So there's just too many things against the long that are making it invalid. So it does go congestive. It kind of just chops around for a bit. Then here you finally get a push higher here. You break out of the this range here, and you reach the overnight highs again. So literally to the tick, reversal, already retesting the overnight highs. And then this is the first sign of a bullish imbalance. It's not like crazy strong or anything, but we did bounce early and have two, and instead of having two legs to the other side of the channel, we had two legs to the middle of the channel, or sorry, the middle of the range, which means that it looks like the bulls are taking over. But it's not that strong. It can easily recover. But anyway, so we start going into this wider uptrend here. Over time, you would want to extend it. It does overshoot again here, and it's at the overnight high, So we break out of the overnight high with one big leg up. There's not even really two legs that we can see in here. You can kind of see one leg break, second leg, but then it has a third leg. It's really just one solid leg up there. And we break out of the overnight highs. We immediately fade back in. I don't see any good entries because you don't want to take it just because it breaks out here. And then we get this first entry long, second entry long to the tick, but it's so choppy and so confusing. I just don't see anything good in there. And then you get this lower high right here, but it's directly into this trend line, which I want to fully extend it. So fully extended, it's off directly into the trend line. I just don't think it's good to go short, and then it kind of barely closes out there, but it's getting choppy. It's just overall not a very good setup. I would want to see more separated, like you see how here we have first entry long, second entry long. I would want to see a more separated failed second entry like that, but I would want it closing up here rather than pushing two legs down. I would want it to be like a leg down and then two legs back, failed second entry. But we don't get that. We start to go into this downtrend here. We start drawing it. It has a break. It is a failed second entry, but I would be afraid of this leg up here and getting a second leg up here, and so it's just not a perfect failed second entry as I explained, and so I wouldn't want to take it considering all we have is this massive push up with a slight bullish imbalance. So that's my thoughts there. I just thought it'd be best to avoid it. So we're in this downtrend. We have a break, new low. We immediately rush back above. We get this higher low and then a failed second entry. First entry short, second entry short, failure, and it looks like that failure is doing pretty good right now. So yeah, that's what I see. The downtrend played out. Then we went into this uptrend, break, and it's going to try to make a new high. It's going to form looks like it's forming some much bigger uptrend here. So yeah, that looks like that's going to be it for the video, y'all. Hope y'all had a good trading day, and yep, I'll see y'all next time.